Red lights flashing America's supply chain on the brink. America's supply chain is a modern marvel. It's a complex network of highways, ports, ships, trains and warehouses. This system keeps our shelves stocked and our economy humming. But this critical system is under immense strain. Truckers and port workers, the unsung heroes of this logistical ballet, are facing a perfect storm of challenges. Low wages, long hours and the looming threat of automation have pushed them to a breaking point. The highways are clogged with trucks and the ports are bursting at the seams. Yet, the men and women who keep these goods moving are barely scraping by. Many are forced to work grueling hours, sacrificing their health and well-being for a paycheck that barely covers the bills. The COVID-19 pandemic exposed the fragility of our supply chains. It also highlighted the vital role these workers play in our daily lives. Suddenly, everyone was talking about truck drivers and port workers. They were hailed as essential workers, keeping the country running during a time of crisis. But as the pandemic faded, so did the gratitude. The applause died down, and the challenges remain. Now, truckers and port workers are left wondering if a strike is their only option to demand the respect and compensation they deserve.
The high cost of silence. When ports and highways stand still, a strike by truckers and port workers would be a gut punch to the American economy. It would bring the flow of goods to a screeching halt. Empty store shelves would become the new normal. Consumers would feel the pinch almost immediately. The cost of everyday goods would skyrocket. The numbers are staggering. A single day of striking at major ports like Los Angeles or Long Beach could cost the US economy billions of dollars. And if truckers join the picket lines, the impact would be even more severe. Manufacturing plants would be forced to idle. Businesses would shutter. The ripple effects would be felt across the nation. In 2019, a trucker strike in South Korea lasted for 8 days. It paralyzed the country's supply chains. It cost an estimated $1.2 billion in lost production and exports. This economic earthquake serves as a stark reminder of the power these workers hold. It also underscores the potential chaos that could unfold if their demands are ignored. The threat of a strike is a wake-up call for businesses and consumers alike. It's a stark reminder that our economy depends on the hard work and fair treatment of these essential workers. Ignoring their plight is a recipe for disaster.
United we stand, truckers and port workers finding common ground. Truckers and port workers may seem like separate entities, but their fates are intertwined. They are both cogs in the same machine, both essential for the smooth functioning of the supply chain. And they are both facing a common enemy: automation. In ports, automated cranes and self-driving vehicles threaten to displace thousands of workers. On the highways, self-driving trucks are no longer a futuristic fantasy. They are a looming reality that could put countless truckers out of work. The fear of automation is a powerful motivator. It unites truckers and port workers in a shared struggle for survival. They understand that their strength lies in solidarity. Together, they have the power to disrupt the entire supply chain, forcing companies and lawmakers to pay attention to their demands. This potential alliance is a game changer. It could reshape the labour landscape, giving these essential workers the leverage they need to secure better wages, benefits and job security in the face of unprecedented technological disruption. Section 5. Can truckers afford to strike? A gamble with uncertain odds. The decision to strike is not one that truckers take lightly. For many, it would mean putting their livelihoods on the line. The trucking industry is already grappling with a shortage of drivers, and many owner-operators are barely staying afloat. A strike would mean lost income, and for some, it could mean losing their trucks. It's a gamble, a desperate measure taken when all other avenues have been exhausted. The potential rewards are high: better pay, improved working conditions, and a voice in the face of automation. But the risks are equally significant. A prolonged strike could cripple the industry, forcing some trucking companies out of business and leaving drivers without jobs. It's a high-stakes game of chicken, a desperate attempt to force change in an industry that seems resistant to it.
Section 6. A Road to Ruin. The impending collapse of American trucking. The American trucking industry is on the brink of collapse. The driver shortage is reaching crisis levels. Experienced drivers are retiring, and younger generations are reluctant to enter a profession plagued by low pay, long hours, and grueling conditions. The industry's reliance on outdated business models and its resistance to change are pushing it towards the precipice. The rise of automation only exacerbates these challenges. Self-driving trucks may seem like a distant threat, but they are closer than many realize. If the trucking industry doesn't address the concerns of its workforce, it risks self-destruction. A mass exodus of drivers, coupled with the disruptive force of automation, could bring the entire system crashing down. The consequences would be catastrophic, not just for the industry, but for the entire nation.
Section 7. The crossroads, choosing between desperation and dignity. Truckers and port workers are facing an impossible choice. Continue toiling under exploitative conditions or roll the dice with a strike that could cripple the economy and jeopardize their own livelihoods. It's a choice between desperation and dignity, between accepting the status quo and demanding better. The decision to strike is never easy. It's a last resort, a desperate cry for help when all other avenues have been exhausted. But sometimes, desperation is the only catalyst for change. It forces those in power to listen, to acknowledge the humanity of the workers who keep the wheels of the economy turning. The question is, will it take a full-blown crisis, a complete breakdown of the supply chain, for the powers that be to finally address the legitimate grievances of these essential workers? Or will they wait until it's too late, until the damage is irreversible?
Section 8. Beyond the strike, exploring alternative solutions. While the threat of a strike looms large, it's crucial to explore alternative solutions. Dialogue between labor unions, trucking companies, and policymakers is essential to find common ground. Negotiated agreements that address worker concerns without resorting to a strike are in everyone's best interest. One potential solution is to provide truckers with better pay and benefits, including guaranteed hours and paid time off. Investing in driver training programs and improving working conditions could attract new talent to the industry. For port workers, job security in the face of automation is paramount. Retraining programs and government assistance can help displaced workers transition to new careers. Collaboration between industry leaders and policymakers is crucial to ensure a smooth transition to a more automated future without leaving workers behind. Section 9. The power of solidarity. Lessons from labor history. Throughout history, labor movements have demonstrated the power of solidarity. From the railroad strikes of the 19th century to the air traffic controllers' strike of 1981, workers have fought for their rights and won significant victories. These movements highlight the importance of collective action. When workers stand together, they amplify their voices and increase their bargaining power. They can force corporations and governments to listen to their demands and negotiate fair solutions. The potential alliance between truckers and port workers echoes these historical struggles. By uniting their forces, they tap into a deep well of collective power. They can learn from the successes and failures of past labor movements, drawing on the lessons of history to navigate the challenges ahead.
Section 10, a call to action, bridging the divide between workers and industry. The challenges facing truckers and port workers are complex, but they are not insurmountable. It's time for a national conversation about the future of these essential industries and the workers who keep them running. Businesses need to recognize the value of their workforce and provide fair wages, benefits, and working conditions. Policymakers need to enact legislation that protects workers' rights and ensures a smooth transition to a more automated future. And consumers need to understand the true cost of the goods they consume and support businesses that treat their workers with respect. The time for complacency is over. The red lights are flashing and the alarm bells are ringing. It's time to bridge the divide between workers and industry, to find common ground and forge a path towards a more sustainable and equitable future. The fate of our economy, and indeed our nation, depends on it.